recording. Yeah.
It's a good question. I don't know that it immediately comes to my mind is kind of attitude, outlook.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
That was good.
Yes.
Set of beliefs.
Yeah. So, basically, when we look at basically mindset means brain set, and different is the brain is the muscle, and it's an organ like other organs, and it could be trained separately. The brain is the hardware, the mindset is the software essentially, and it's exactly that. It's the sums of our beliefs, of our ideas, of our knowledge, the prism, the filters. It's the lens through which we see every opportunity slash threat. So one could look and say, wow, everything is great. And one could approach and say, I'm going to be suspicious of everything, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this much we all understand. So we also all said the importance of mindset, right? So when we want to get better, what we all basically, we've got in order to improve, and we want all to improve, so we could improve in one of those three areas, right? The skill set, the mindset, and the activity. Correct? I mean, basically, activity, either I do more or do something better. The skill set, if I learn something new. And the mindset, again, am I looking at the right way, which am I positive, negative, right? So this is basically what we usually are dealing with. This for everybody. So and that's translate activities. So the action plan, the tactics, the skills, it's the capabilities, resources, and the mindset, as well said earlier. So going back to this slide. So when we want to improve, so each one starts to say, well, if I'm right now feeling not so good about myself, I might want to go and study something. And when I study something new, so I get a new skill set, I feel better, I do activity. So that's basically the circle. And with that being said, is that circle works up to point. At some point, people get stuck. And the reason is what? First of all, do you agree that at some point people get stuck?
Sure. Yeah. It's natural to get stuck.
Why is that? Because as I said, it's real simple. If you get stuck, it's either you want to improve your mindset, improve your skill, or do.
Yeah, I think the key is how long you get stuck for.
Other ideas. Why people are getting stuck? What people always say, what? I know I need to get my mindset there. I know I need to learn. I know I need to start going to the gym. I know I need to eat more healthy. I know I need to create a business plan. So people don't do. And the reason is, and here is where the reason that presentation came, as people, what I've noticed is it's actually has to do with our previous topic, is people are reacting totally unrelated to stuff that's happening. They are being triggered by other stuff, and they are getting distracted, and then they're getting out of focus. And what I've came to understand is that most people improve, and that's kind of the complete I am and plus proof, is that people want to feel confident that what we're about to do would deliver the proper result. People lose confidence when they are not sure they could deal with the outcome, which means most people are being are being led only by results. People when we get great results, we feel better about ourselves. Once we get poor results or unwanted results for the longer time, then frustration sinks in. Then people start to doubt themselves, the confidence go down, and most people, and again, most people, that's the way that they are looking at the world. The automatic mindset that I've been seeing in athletes as well, and it starts very early. Kids, I've seen kids that are in competitions, like when we get great results, if you're good about themselves, all of a sudden we get a bad result in the same competition, broke a record on one hit, the next hit get not as good as a result, and then how is your competition? Bad, but you broke a personal record. How come? So the bad results supersedes the record you broke. How it just doesn't make sense, right? And from an early age in schools, we are wired that if we get an A on a test, that means that we are great. If we got an F, what does that mean about ourselves? Right? Any thoughts? Do you agree, disagree? Does that make sense to everyone? The fact that people are really wired by results, I mean, that they have such effect on us. If
they're in that case, I think they're wired by the environment, because the environment sets the expectation that an A is good and an F is bad. So you grow up in an environment, the environment influences you in the systems that you get exposed to. So you get trained that way.
But the environment also kind of directs you to focus on what you are good at fairly early on. And if you find this is not where I'm performing well, you tend to exclude that from future activities rather than take it as a strong encouragement to work harder in those bad fields.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so true. So from a very early on stage, if I get an unwanted result or poor result and say you're not good at it, then stop. I mean, from an early age, I was told, and this is a personal story, from an early age, I was told I'm not good in standing in front of a crowd. I'm bad in standing in front of a crowd. I was even told I better not talk at all. And now I joke about it because I said, well, I don't know how to talk, I don't know how to speak, I don't know how to write. So I joke about it from a very early stage. And I'm telling you in Hebrew, not just in English. And I think as a swimmer, very early, when I was 13, the head coach said, you reached your full potential. I don't think you could move forward. And I was 13. So I was lucky enough to be in an environment that says, I'm not to get anyone to dictate and tell me what I'm good at and what I'm good at. So I told him, so I'll move to another team and see you in the championship. So a year later, I saw him in the championships. And mind you, as I passed right next to him, say, all right, Adi, well, I made it. And he said, yeah, you made it, but you got only to 14th place. And he didn't shake my hand. To this day, whatever I see in the Masters competition, he doesn't shake my hand. And so where ego comes to play. So true, the environment, if somebody tells us that we are good, they say, all right, then we're good. If somebody gives us like a negative feedback, say, oh, you're not good at. A lot of the time, especially if it's somebody close to us, and a lot of times it's family, friends, a lot of times it's parents, then if our parents say, you're not supposed to do that, or you're not good at it, we take it from an early step and we stop doing it.
I used to joke to say, there's this common saying behind every successful man or woman, of course, is a strong partner. Okay, but frankly saying, well, my opinion on that is, well, every successful person, well, most successful people are successful nevertheless, or never ignoring ignoring that social environment.
Ignoring the environment, the successful, and you know, the reason that I'm having this presentation in front of you and in front of our team is because that's what TAB is all about. It's about a group of successful or winners in my book, and winners are the ones that doing things that other people don't dare even to think about. Winners are the ones that even when they fail, they keep doing it and course correcting, and they don't care how much time they fail till they get it right. And they don't tell excuses because the floor was crooked and there was wind, and they take ownership and they succeed nevertheless. So most winners actually behave differently. Most winners, and people in this group included, definitely, they dream. They dare to dream. They've got a vision. Then they operate, try and error, and they get results. They're master of their own destiny. So the easier way to look at it is, if most people want to have first, then they do, and then they experience the being or the power that they are. Winners look at it from first, they acknowledge their strengths, they acknowledge who they are, they know what their driving force is, what their vision, then they do, then they get results. And that's the mindset, that's the software, that's the operating system that we want to be concentrated on. And the last but not least, there is, how do we keep starting with the be? How can we maintain the being state of mind and really be aware of how good we are, how potent, how strong, how clever, and how much we can do? And I would give you a couple of tools that I've been teaching my son since he was a very young age, and my team. Some of them you may know, but I'd like to present it a bit in a different way. Is, how do we start with the B? And again, this is a lot to do with what we've been doing in TAB. So we start with the disc in TAB and really focusing on our energizers, our strengths, our driving factors. That's why we use the disc a lot. And if you don't have the disc, go to your coach, work again. If you haven't looked at it for the longest time to look again and be really connected to our strengths. And the power of the disc is that you did a questionnaire and then you get the results. It's right there. It's certified that you've got all this. So we've got the disc, then the vision. The vision, it's one of the most powerful tools. And the vision, if we want to keep envisioning the vision, whether it is imagining and it's having a vision board, having what I call anchors. I mean, in my environment, I've got a virtual background, but if you were to look in the background, and I've got those symbols of actually medals that I won in championships, and it's kind of right at the back. It can symbolize that, well, work pays. Eventually, you get results, and it's always in my eye of sight. Whenever I come into the office, whenever I leave the table, this anchor, whether a vision board, whether it's a sign, whether it's a picture, whether it's just a written word, the more anchors, the more stuff that symbolizes your vision, the easier it will be for you to really feel that, why are we doing what we're doing? And again, 2026, so it's time, again, part of the year sequence is really getting connected with that vision. And just before I go to the final tool, the rest is exactly what we do in town. We've got the strategic plan, we've got the critical success factors. The reason is that once you've got the vision, it then translated into the critical success factors. That's how that vision going to be manifested, then go to the action plan and doing. And then this is the most important tool in my book, and it's the 5 degrees of success. Success, as the cliche goes, but this is the way to translate that cliche. It's not a destination, it's a way of life. And there are 5 degrees of success. First one, level 1, is the desired outcome, which, first of all, if you get desired outcomes, they start taking for granted, start taking notes when you got them. Level 2 is activities that you had done, whether they planned or whether you dared to actually do them. And the reason is that most people say they're going to do something and they don't, they're not in full integrity. They don't do. I start going to the gym and they don't do. A lot of people may meet an investor in an event and they wouldn't even approach to say, I might get a no. So any action that you took, whether it was planned and you actually were true to your word, whether it was something that you dared because you saw opportunity and took it regardless of the result, is a success. Level 3 is the insights, stuff that you've learned. And level 4 is something that we got better. It's the understanding. It's how we actually understood how to do what we know, but even better. The majority of coaching and in sports, in professional sports, level 4, 99% professional athletes know how to throw a ball, do the exercise, but they keep honing their profession and they keep understanding how to do the same thing, but even better. But every single time where I say I've learned how to do it better, I've learned how to do it better, even if it's like a 10% each day in a year, it's a lot of improvement. And last but not least are identify mistakes as success. Most people hate to look at mistakes. If we identify, they allow us to learn, they allow us new insights, they allow us to correct our plans and act and course correct. And mistakes could be painful, but as long as we wire our brains to think as mistakes, as identify the mistakes as the key to success, then we could focus on the course correcting. And what to do with this slide, basically, put it in your on your desk, in your work area, next to your bed, with a notebook, and each day write 5 success in every aspect, personal and business, because the brain don't know how to distinct between a success. A success is a success. If I've done great something with my kid, with my spouse, or if I just learned something new, completely unrelated to business, but the more I recognize those successes in all 5 levels and write them down, and the key is to write them down, then I would have easier time to focus on the vision and then the strengths, and then do and be motivated in actually operating and staying in the being. Writing according to those 5. I think this one most of the powerful tools that I came across, and I still to this day have this notebook next to my table, and I keep writing on a daily basis. And again, not just in business, but always. And that's and I would say excellence. That's what it is. Questions, and 39 questions, and then a bonus round if everybody's up to it.
Yeah, Janetta.
Hi, Nir. I like this. And I just wrote down your quote, success is the way, not a destination. I will